Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Matthew X. Joseph, and I was incredibly fortunate to work with the great people at Tech and Learning Leader. And I've been facilitating some professional development online over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And when we were talking about it, they were asking me, what are some of the strategies that you use when you are facilitating this professional development? And I shared some with them, and I wrote an article, and it was published in Tech and Learning, but I also wanted to model some of those strategies that I shared as well by creating a PowerPoint slideshow. And what I did was create the slideshow and then have a Zoom meeting with myself. I created a Zoom meeting for one. I shared my screen, and that's how the PowerPoint is on the screen, and then I recorded the meeting. So that is one strategy that I use to facilitate digital professional development, because I can film this, record it, and share it with all of you. And next, I want to share some of the other strategies, because I think it's critical to have that opportunity, because we had to make an incredible pivot as educators. We entered into this remote learning at some point around March 13th, and it was the norm for teachers to be in front of the classroom and having students raising hands. And instantly it became digital meetings and utilizing the digital tools, and students had to digitally raise their hand. And we had to find strategies to help our teachers embrace this type of instruction and give them skills and tools to help during this process. And in doing that, one of the things that I noticed is about the first 2 weeks, it was a buffet of ideas. Try this, do this. Why don't we look at this website? Here's another website. Here's a tool, there's a tool. And we sprinted to support teachers because that's what we needed to do. But then we had to take a step back, create a long-term plan to support our educators through virtual professional development, and not just here's how to do this, click here, click there. It was, let's create a strategic plan to move forward with some strategies. And in that, one of the things when you're making a professional development plan for educators or leaders is to look at a few things. A few questions I like to ask myself when I design sessions, and I run one every Friday, and then I run a few others throughout the week for our staff, is what's the session goals? And what are the topics that our school and districts are working to in our school improvement plan, and do the professional development topics match? Who's the audience for? Is it for paraprofessionals? Is it for special educators? Is it for the entire staff? And make sure, because I facilitate, my role as Director of Curriculum Instruction Assessment is to facilitate professional development. I don't want to create virtual professional development just because we're in a virtual situation. I want to make sure it still matches what we're doing. I also have been looking to have others co-present with me. I've had a few people continue to do that. And how often are the sessions going to be done? I know I do one every Friday at 1 o'clock, and then work with our paraprofessionals every Tuesday at 2, and having that consistency. And I'm going to share some of that in a few of the strategies, because looking at that, these strategies are important. Another thing I think are important is to have roles in these meetings. I have empowered other people, because as I'm doing right now, I'm talking to a computer. And a lot of chats have chat rooms and other tools that the facilitator, it's difficult to manage all of it. So I always recommend, when you're running staff meetings, when you're running virtual professional developments, anything, is that you have roles for others to help. I like to have a moderator so that that person can view the chat window, or they can, if I'm sharing my screen, I can't really see everything, they can jump in and say, we have a question, or they can answer it in the chat. I like to have someone on call if someone can't log into the meeting. They can have a support number to call in to get them on the meeting, because if we do that over the conference call or the video chat, it takes away from the time that we have. Often we have small group facilitators, because we break into small groups, and having someone facilitate that will help. I'm also a big one for time. I do not recommend having virtual meetings or professional over an hour. So having a timekeeper to keep me on track really helps keep the pacing move forward. So I'm going to talk about a few key elements. The first one is find something where you're enjoying yourself. I like to do this. I like to work with Tech and Learning. I like to share with all of you. This is fun for me. And when I'm delivering professional development, just like when you deliver lessons, if it's not something you're passionate or excited about, everybody can see that. So make sure that you're having fun when you do this, because people on the other side of the screen definitely will be able to pick up on that if you are or are not. Okay, now meet educators where they are. Often when we have virtual PD, or any professional for that matter, is we just do a one size fits all. But in this ever-changing shift, I talked about a pivot at the beginning, people are in different places. Some people are just learning how to get on virtual meetings. Other people having 3 computers, a virtual meeting, a whiteboard. So when you deliver professional development, make sure you're meeting educators where they are. I really recommend having very strategic titles. Because if I say getting started with whatever the tool is, people know that this is a beginner kind of learning how to do this. And if someone comes in with a lot of experience, they're not going to find it as valuable. But if I want to do something more advanced, I want to put that in the title as well. So be very clear of the participants, maybe send out a survey of different things that you want to do, different ideas, so that you hear what people want. There's ideas that I want to get out there, but if educators don't want them, then the professional development will not be well attended, and it will not be impactful to the learning of your district. In that planning, once you have that design, don't over plan. You think an hour is a long time, but it's going to fly by, especially on a vertical platform. Make sure that you are not just telling people to click and you're over planning, and participants are scrambling to find out what you're talking about. I have a link in the chat, and visit this document, do this Padlet, and people get overwhelmed and frustrated. So I recommend one skill per professional development, so you can really dig in, you can answer questions, and it's not just saying how to do this, but when you do one skill, you can talk about a tool. We've done professional on Flipgrid, Padlet, Wakelet, Newsela, but it's not about how to use them. It's about here's how to use them, and then here's how you implement them in your lessons. So if you just look at one skill or tool, you can dive into not only how to use them, but how to implement them in what you're doing. Also, one of the things that I like to do, as I just said, it's a lot, the hour flies by unless you're talking for an hour straight. And it's not something I particularly like to do, to have a Matt Joseph monologue for 1 hour. So I like to make sure to have a few people come in to share their experiences, share their knowledge, break up the cadence of the person speaking. So if you're running the professional development, reach out to some of your staff. I just had a professional development this weekend, and I had a representative from elementary, middle school, and high school share how they're using it. 1, to break up the time, and 2, to show some relevant examples as well. Make sure you celebrate. This is a difficult time. This has been a challenge for a lot of people. It takes courage to enter into a professional development setting and then try these new skills. Make sure you're celebrating in some capacity. I like to maybe send out certificates, or wear a silly hat and say, you get to wear the hat next week. Whatever it is, make an opportunity and a conscious effort to celebrate, highlight the people in the room, and keep people excited about this type of learning, so that the stamina doesn't run out. This is a difficult time, but it's critical for us as educators to continue learning, for our students who also need that support from our teachers. And when planning, just like any other professional development, start on time, end on time. Make sure you practice with the technology so that you as the instructor aren't fiddling around. Make sure everyone has the resources before. If you're going to access some tools or ideas or shared document, send all of that out before. Because just because we're doing it virtually doesn't mean we can just make up new rules for professionalism. Come, be prepared, start and end on time, and run an effective session, and educators will benefit from it and apply those skills into their own instruction. And when in doubt, have fun. Go back to the key strategy number 1, have fun, be vulnerable, and just find a way to keep positive during all of this. So thank you for joining me. If you have an opportunity, feel free to connect with me. As you see, I'm still getting used to this. I covered up the Tech and Learning logo and their Twitter handle. I'll see if I can move the camera if that helps. So connect with me. Happy to help move this over. Connect with Tech and Learning. Great website on Twitter. They do some amazing resources. They have amazing content. They have weekly stories and strategies. So check in with them, check in with me. It was great to have this opportunity to connect, read. They have stories published each and every day. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and move the camera back and help you out running professional development. Happy to come in and facilitate meetings with you, because we are all in this together, and we're doing this to empower our staff, to educate our students.